Welcome to the first ever episode of the Frozen Biscuit. My name is Zach James. I'm here with my co-host and good friend Noah Seuss. Noah, introduce yourself.
I'm Noah Seuss. I'm from New York.
Yeah, I'm from LA, as you can see by the King's hat. So for our
I'm
first ever episode, Kings and his favorite team, the Islanders. Um, sit back, relax. We'll be with you for about an hour. Feel free to like and subscribe. And, just hang out with us. Tell us what you want us to do. We'll start with the Islanders. So, not a lot of moves, but definitely a big rumor. We'll start with some of the smaller rooms. So, Alexander
Romanov.
yes, sorry, got traded with a 2022 fourth rounder and a 2022 first rounder. No, as an Islanders fan, what do you think about that?
It's a good trade. We needed a defenseman. Would I give up pick 13 for that? I'm going to say no. I think he was worth more like pick 20. He's a good trade. He's a good move for the bottom six for our defense. We really needed help with our defense. Chara was old. Green's old. The defense was main part of this offseason for the Islanders.
I think that's a good point too. When I saw him when he was playing in Montreal, I thought he was one of the hardest skaters on that team. He was just trying to put every 100% effort in for every shift he got. He was like, you could tell, like on the ice, he was trying to be the best. I think that's a good mindset for that Islanders team to have. What do you think about that?
Him and Dobson are going to be great together. Dobson needed someone on his line with him. And we'll see what they bring to this team next season.
So, Islanders last season got, oh, we got a dog at the house.
my uncle's dog in the background. What's that? Say hi. Say hi. Say hi.
Continuing what I said. So, the Islanders went 37, 35, and 10, finished fifth in the Metropolitan. Sure, they were stuck on the road while their brand new building, the UBS Arena, was being built. But do you think they're going to have a better year?
We better have a better year. It was a struggle to get fans in attendance this season. In the end, we need a win. We made it to 2 conference finals appearances. It was very tough this year with the 13-game road trip, then our whole team getting COVID. We need a scorer, and I think hopefully we get Nazem Kadri. Hopefully.
Yes. So before we go to the biggest rumor about him, before we get to that Kadri move, we're going to talk about stats for the Islanders. So Brock Nelson actually got 59 points, which was tied for Matt Barzal. Dobson was the defense's leader with 52 points. And Anders Lee got 46. Brock Nelson also led the team with 37 goals. Barzal with 44 assists. And yeah, I think I see a few problems with the lineup, especially being they were kind of injured. There are a lot of less than fleecing games. Like Barzal only played 73 as one of those franchise cornerstones. You want to see him play a lot more, like closer to the 82 game season. Zach Parise was the only one of the entire team to play 82. So
we need more consistent guys playing games. That's what we need.
Especially seeing that early team, it was kind of struggling to see that it was clear that they needed the home crowd, but they were having issues. They were injured. It was kind of looked like the Baltimore Ravens.
They just need more guys that can stay consistent and play. Everyone's like with all the COVID stints and with everything, it was a struggle to get on the ice. Get everyone out there. And we had like an AHL roster playing at some point. And we were like playing like the Rangers. We had like a great season this year, and they had a full healthy team. We lost like 5-2. We couldn't get anything going. Our home opener of our new arena, we had literally Austin Sarnik starting that game for the Islanders. It was abysmal. We lost 5-2, and Brock Nelson was the only starter playing that game. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I think Islanders' step forward is that they still continue to keep around Barzell and Lee, especially being their things. But I think if Nelson is actually playing on a consistent basis, you keep him around too. But defensively, Dobson played 80 games, which is really good. Pelech played 78. But, I feel like they need more depth because there was a lot of less point scorers. You didn't have that one guy who could consistently get points. Those guys were less than a point a game. And, it's kind of rough to see what they had. Like,
we need more point per game scorers, and Nazem Kadri will certainly help that.
Yes, again, before we get to Kadri,
I love to have him on our team. As you see, I glow up with excitement every time I hear his name.
Yes. So moves in the off season, they let a lot of players go to free agency. They let Zdeno Chara, Corey Schneider, Thomas Hickey, Andy Green, Austin
Sonic.
Yes, thank you. Paul LaDue.
Paul LaDue, what a dude.
They were all allowed to become free agents. Some minor signings, which will help depth-wise. A lot of defensive signings too, which is helpful. People like Robin Salo with 2 years. Grant Hutton also with 2 years. Romanov, as we said, was brought in from Montreal. Sebastian Aho brought him back.
I was almost ready to let Sebastian Aho go because how bad he played the last couple of years. He's just been stuck in that level of just trying to get up from Bridgeport, and he can't get past it.
I think it's good that they're finally starting to build depth because, it kind of looked like especially in those two, when they got to the conference finals in those back-to-back years, it kind of looked like lacking a little bit. And it kind of showed early season and kind of transitioned in like a snowball effect. But yeah, they brought in a lot of younger prospects, which will help a lot. And, I think if they play their cards right, they can get back relatively quickly.
We just need that one scorer. I thought it was going to be Panarin at 19. Thought it might be Landeskog the year after. Thought it was going to be Gaudreau. And we always end up with nothing. That's why Lou could be fired after the season if we don't see a nice playoff run from the Islanders.
Yep, they did bring in a new staff, which is always exciting to see. But, it might be rough in that first year. They might make it back to the playoffs in that first year. You never know, especially with teams like Pittsburgh and Washington on the decline. You might see this young Islanders team come up and make a shot to go into like the second round, or let's say.
I would love to see that. Or to get back to the conference finals would always be nice. I love the conference finals because that's as far as we can get in my lifetime.
Yes. All right. Let's take up the thing that'll probably take the majority of this first episode. The rumors say that Nazem Kadri will go to the Islanders. Now, the Islanders, accordingly, have $11 million in cap space to bring him in. So, Kadri playing in the playoffs, he was injured, but regular season, he was great, putting up career numbers like he couldn't do in Toronto. And, you know, with them keeping all their draft picks and most of their people being re-signed for a long period of time, what do you think? Do they bring him in? Do they try to build defensive depth? Or
We got to bring him in. You got to bring him in. Look, after the playoffs, after his 87-point regular season, you got to bring him in. It's a must to bring him in. Get a winger for Barzy is huge. You got to build around Barzy.
yes. Yes, looking at
You say
their
yes,
depth.
Rocky. You say yes about Kadri coming to the Islanders. You do.
So age-wise for the Islanders, they are relatively young. Their defense is very, very young, so a lot of time to develop that into a strong bottom six. Offense getting a little agey. Zach Parise turns 38 this season. Matt Martin turns 33. Cal Clutterbuck is 34. But otherwise, relatively young team with Barzell being 25, Lee kind of getting older at 32, Brock Nelson at 30. So do you think they might try to bring in through trade some younger pieces?
We got to win now. So it's win or bust. I would trade all of our prospects for someone who can score. Because goals is what we need. I don't want anyone who can pass. Trade Josh Bailey away. Trade everyone away and get a score here.
Yes. So Nazem Kadri would be a very good piece to help. Let me get up his stats really. So Kadri putting up career numbers. He is 31. So I imagine it would be like a 4x5, 5x6 kind of deal. You know, career numbers for him. His cap hit is on, or his cap hit last time was only $4.5 million, but the base salary is only 2 million. So do you think the Islanders try to get him for cheap and for less years, or do you think they try to build around him and bring in some younger depth?
I feel like they're just gonna throw the bag at him. He deserves the bag after 87-point season and an amazing postseason.
Yes, that postseason did end up with the Stanley Cup, but I guess, and the city of St. Louis with him as well. But, bringing him in would be a little pricey. And we've seen the Islanders, kind of low out, as they say. But, if they can play their cards right, I could drop my mic. But if they can play their cards right, I feel like they can make better investments leading them back to the playoffs and eventually to a Stanley Cup.
I feel like they have to make a couple trades, like trading like players like Josh Bailey, Anthony Beauvillier, those guys. If you trade those guys, then you could free up some cap space to get ready for the next off season and off seasons ahead.
Yes. So Josh Bailey is a unrestricted free agent after the 24-25 season. They're still paying him $5 million per year. And, expensive prices. There are Barzell is being paid 7 million, but is a restricted free agent after the 23-24 season. Uh, Parise is relatively cheap. I feel like you can get a couple more, like free up a little bit if you drop him, seeing that
He
he
doesn't
is
cost a
third.
lot, Zach Parise. And for what he does, it's productive. Because how much we pay him is not a lot. So I like his contract here. And he's playing
Um,
82, so it's great.
yeah. Um, Anders Lee is being kept around for a long time.
Tough
He was
contract with Lee, but he's the captain. Got to keep him around.
It's a little steep. Maybe they try to restructure it and to also bring around some good goal scoring pieces and some other things that'll help with them, because um they weren't that big of a goal scorer last season. They would get their wins by good goaltending by Sorokin.
Sure, Varlamov wasn't that great last year. So maybe
Varlamov,
the thought process is you flip Varlamov to free up more cap space so you can get more depth around on in the lineup. It's just a thought. I heard Lou Lamoriello saying we're keeping both of the two. I don't see why you keep both of the two. You should trade Varlamov while you get the chance. So yeah.
yes, however, they only have to stick around one more year, as he is paid $5 million this year and then is an unrestricted free agent in the 23-24 season. Sorokin is 4 million and he is paid, and he is through the 24-25 season. If they do get rid of Varlamov, who only played 31 games, um, you know, it would probably be for the best, but I feel like they would have to bring in a young goalie as well.
Or you sign just the backup, and then that's your backup goalie. You sign like a new backup like every couple years. Like Thomas Rice went to the Blues, but he'll be a great good backup goalie to get for Sorokin because Sorokin's supposed to be your superstar goalie who's supposed to save the day and win the cup.
Are you biased to getting Greece because he was a former Islander?
Yes, absolutely. I love Thomas Rice and Robin Leonard. Shout out to Robin Leonard. Come home. We miss you.
Yes, they got rid of their third string goalie in Corey Schneider. He only played one
I
game
hate
last
Corey
year.
Schneider. I hate him
Um,
so much.
Sorokin, maybe you build around him. He got 26 wins, 18 losses, 8 overtime losses. He only allowed 123 goals, which is really good. He had a 925 save percentage. What do you think about that?
It's great. I think he can sneak around, take the Vesna right from New York, and win the Vesna this year. That's a hot take right there. Sorokin winning the Vesna. I would love to see that.
Yep. He had a 2.4 goals, average goals against per game. But, that Sorokin versus Shesterkin rivalry, that is going to be amazing for like the next 10 years, especially if they re-sign Sorokin, who's relatively young.
It'll be great. It'll be great for New York. It'll be great for the league. It'll be Shesterkin is good. I respect him, but is he better than Sorokin? A little bias is kicking in, saying he is not better than Ilya Sorokin.
I think that's fair, especially seeing that you know, Shesterkin coming off that Vesna, but Sorokin's playing really well, especially with that save percentage to boot. And with more teams kind of moving around, especially like Metro and Atlantic teams moving around goalies, like Darcy Kemper going to the Caps, for say. Um, it'll be, I guess, difficult for him to win. But I think if he keeps up those numbers and continues to improve every year, he'll be really good for that team.
The Islanders really struggled before getting Leonard and Grice with goaltending. Like Halak, we had Chad Johnson, Michael Neuver. They were all pretty bad. So getting that starting goalie who hopefully will lead the franchise is huge for the team.
Yes. Not a lot of goaltenders on the market. Kitty pass. So maybe the Islanders get a goalie like, for say, free agent wise, Braden Holtby. They get rid of Varlamov, or they'd go out and trade for Anaheim's Josh Gibson, who might be on the market, depending on what the Ducks decide to do. That might be a later topic for some other time. But I think Sorokin in net, I don't know if Josh Gibson would be, the backup, but, you either get a good backup goalie, like you put Holtby in, who had a 913 save percentage, pretty decent save percentage. He had about a 3 goals allowed per game on average, 2.78, but low-ish cap hit, which would be easy to pay off. And if they get him, what would be the next step?
It's building the offense. It's always going to be building the offense for the Islanders. It's always build the offense. It's always try to build the offense, do nothing, and it's always either sneak into that last playoff spot or get 5th or 6th in the East, in the Metro.
Yes. So forwards on the market, besides Kadri, a good centerman, a relatively young one on the market might be one Sonny Milano, also from the Ducks. If they signed him, that provides great depth on the wings, being he can play both left and right wing. It's only 26 as well. You could have a guy like Lou Erickson, who provides a veteran influence and plays the same positions as Milano.
No more veterans on this team, please. After I saw Daniel Chara play defense and everyone skate right past him, I don't want any more 36-year-olds. I'm good. I would take Long Island native Sonny Milano. He's been a great third liner for the Ducks. You bring him in on a cheap 2 years, $2 million. That would really help the team out. And you can free up some spots. You can give Zach Parise some rest after playing a full 82-game season at like 37.
Yeah, it's crazy he's putting up those numbers that he is. Not a lot of free agents on the market for defense, but I think a few trades could go down, seeing that it is still early-ish for a trade to go down. Like the highest rated free agent on the market is PK Subban, but I don't think the Islanders are paying that $9 million cap hit.
Not another old defenseman on my team. Please, God, no, not again. I do not want PK Subban.
Well, if you want younger,
we need always to be younger. We can't be like we were last year. I don't want to see no Green, no Zdeno Chara. Just get younger.
very relatively young, cheap guys could be guys like Will Riley or Josh Brook. Not a lot of NHL experience, but if you can bring him up, those guys up, that would help a lot. But yeah, Islanders are going to be interesting. What do you think? Let's take a look at their schedule now. Uh, you know, start off with a pretty, it's kind of a mixed schedule playing teams like Tampa, Florida twice, and New York and Carolina at the beginning.
It ain't
But
no 13-game road trip though.
that's true.
That was such a tough part of last year. Not going to
Um,
a game at the start of the season and then waiting until like November to go to a game. I was like, what am I gonna do? Just sit there and watch the game? That's boring. I want to be in there in person. So it would be great for the fans to go to the opening night versus Florida and that Ducks game that Saturday.
yeah, I think it'll help a lot that they're not on the road to start the season.
The attendance boost will be huge this year.
Yes, that is true. Especially with it being a new arena, bringing all new amenities and stuff. So what do you think the Islanders do this season? Like, what's their record? How far do they go to the playoffs if they even make the playoffs?
We're making the post. We're making the season this year. So we're sliding in narrowly. Let's say we have like 95, 96 points. We barely get in there, beating out the likes of the Devils, Penguins, Capitals. And Nazem Kadri could really help our team out if we do get that signing done. Lou, get that signing done. It would be great for Barzell to pass the puck, and then the guy next to him puts it in the net. We need someone to do that. I've been relying on too many players saying, the night before free agency, the Islanders are the favorites. It looks like the Islanders are going to get it done here. We never get it done. Lou, watch this and get it done, please.
Yeah, I think the Kadri signing would be huge. It'd be a big boost. Also, a signing for goalie, getting rid of Varlamov and freeing up more cap space for like a minor signing for maybe young depth that they can use later. We're going to be on break for a second. We'll come back and talk about the LA Kings. We'll see you in a bit.
We are back after a nice little bathroom break. We're going to talk about the Kings right now. After we got Kevin, how do you feel about the Kevin Fiala signing to start it off with?
I thought it was great. It'll bring a goal scoring element that we really didn't have. We kind of relied on, I guess, Kempe to get it done last year.
35 goals. Great season for Kempe. And Kevin Fiala, if you have a line of Kempe, Kopitar, and Fiala, who's going to stop that line? It's a great line.
It's a great line, but, Tom McClellan might change it up a bit. You never know what he'll do, and we'll see what he does.
Do you think you need help on the defensive end or more the offensive bottom six end?
I think we need more help on the defensive end. Doughty was out for over half the season, didn't play in the playoff, which probably was the main reason why we did lose to the Oilers. But with him back, that'll help a lot. With re-signing Mikey Anderson and Sean Dursey, that'll help a lot. And Edler's presence will help a lot too. Plus, Sean Walker is finally coming back from injury. And, it'll look a lot more rounded out for the Kings.
Do you think you're going to, after Jonathan Quick is done, do you think you're going to need to get a new goalie or you're going to stay with old man Johnny Quick?
Well, it depends. Because I feel like the Kings will end up playing Peterson a little bit more than Quick, seeing that it is his last year and we do need to make sure that Peterson is the guy to take the torch from you know, either one of the greatest or the greatest Kings. If not, we'll go trade for a good goalie, draft one, develop him, or we re-sign him if Quick has a crazy career year. It'll be whatever happens.
I feel like the Kings really need that young. I think Cal Peterson could be it, but they're gonna need to kind of do like the Islanders did. That we said about the Islanders. They need to sign that after Quick is done, they just or do the backup plan, which would just be signing a backup goalie after every season.
Well, I think Cal, if Quick does end up leaving, and I feel like he would retire if the Kings didn't re-sign him. But if, you know, if Peterson, we're stuck with Peterson for a season, like we just gotta rely on goal scoring. You know, our young guys have been doing it all, like Arthur Kaliev, Rasmus Kupari, Quentin Byfield, all getting major goal scoring done for the Kings.
Speaking of Quentin Byfield, second overall, big. You think he's gonna have a nice sophomore season? What are predictions for him this year?
I think he'll do really well. Being that he is only 19, turning 20 this season, actually in a couple of days here, but I feel like, especially with that team ever growing, looking more and more like a playoff contender, maybe even a Stanley Cup contender, that'll help him a lot on the ice. And him being the next great leader for this team, that'll help with his play.
When Kopitar is done, do you think Byfield's stepping up and playing first line center, the Kings?
Yes, but Kopitar ain't done, buddy.
How do you feel about Dustin Brown and his number being retired this year? One of the great LA sports legends, Dustin Brown. Sorry.
He was one of the reasons why 2 Stanley Cups broke the streak of 45 years. But seriously, Brownie was a tremendous player, great leader. He will surely be missed for that Kings team. But like I said, Kevin Fiala, bringing him in was necessary, and that'll probably fill the void that Brownie has left us.
How did Dustin Brown get the nickname Brownie? I really want to know.
Well, most of the players call each other like IE, so like we'll call Drewy like Drew Doughty Drewy. You know, I just do that sometimes with all our players. Like most of like I call Jonathan Cook Quickie. So Quickie. Yeah. But you know, the entirety of Kings fan base has called Dustin Brown Brownie. But you know, Fiala will help a lot, especially goal scoring wise, which the Kings did look like they needed a little bit during that season.
You know who was big and underrated for the Kings? Philip Deneau. 27 goals.
Yeah, big part, especially bringing him from Montreal, who is looking more and more like the Kings' biggest trade partner at this point. But you know, bringing him in was super helpful, and seeing that he is only he's only 29, we could keep him for a long time, and you know, he can score. He has the leadership. He was at that finals when they lost to the Lightning, and like I say, he looks better in black.
Who do you think the Kings can get that can really bolster up this offense before going into this next season?
I think we're good where we are. Maybe I would say, honestly, get defense, because our offense is looking very good on paper. Even our fourth liners like Blake Lizotte and Brendan Lemieux have been seen to get it done, who are very young. well. So I feel like if the Coyotes, if the Coyotes find him, go out and get Jacob Churchin. He would help that defense tremendously.
That'd be a great move for the Kings. Getting a nice young defenseman to help out that great defensive the great they're great defensive. The great shut up. I'm getting this part out. The great defense that they already have.
Yeah. You want to talk about the
Fiala signing?
The Fiala trade? Yeah.
Oh, he got traded. The 85-point Kevin Fiala was on the Krispy Kreme line for some games. That's my nickname for Kaprizov is Krispy Kreme. Kevin Fiala is great addition for the Kings. 33 goals, 52 assists, 88 points, with a plus minus of 23. He was on the ice generating most of the offense for the Wild. And the Wild don't score a lot either. Speaking of a team that doesn't score a lot, that's the Minnesota Wild for you. Besides Kaprizov, that's pretty much it. And Fiala, that was their offense. That's how you make the playoffs these days.
Yep, with Kaprizov being 100% of that offense. Now, the Wild really needed to free up cap space, especially with needing to sign some other key pieces. But the fact that we got him for a relatively cheap cost, and especially with the Kings prospect pool being so deep, the fact that we only had to give up a first and Brock Faber, that was great. And the fact that we signed him for a 7x7 was even better.
And we don't know how good Brock Faber's going to be, but man could be an absolute stud and lead the Wild to a Stanley Cup. You never really know.
You never know, but seeing what the things that Fiala has done on the Wild and what he will most likely continue to do on the Kings, it'll help a lot. Not sure if the Kings can get another signing in. They only have about $1 million left in cap.
What a cap right there.
Yeah. Rob Blake likes to play smart with his money. So if it does call to bringing in another youngster that we'll need down the line, that would help. But honestly, keeping the lineup as is would help a lot too.
I think the Kings really need help with defense and goalies after Jonathan Quickly's done. Do you think so too?
Yes, seeing that our offense is getting, everybody's scoring, which is good. Like Byfield got on the goal sheet a lot. Trevor Moore from TO. I'm close to TO. But everybody's scoring, and with Kempe keeping up his all-star production that he has, it'll help a lot. Our young team, we can continue to win for a while.
I feel like the Kings. What do you think the Kings are going to do this year before I say my predictions for the Kings?
I would be happy if we got to the second round. I think the Kings will win, make a serious push either next year or the year after that. Make sure that all the things are in place to make a really good run at the thing, the cup. But seeing that, our young core is developing, like Arthur Kaliev is only 21, Carl Gronstrom, who we signed for 2 years, is 24. And people like Fiala and Byfield, who are 26 and 19 respectively, that'll help a lot for that team. But, I think we're not ready to get over the hump and make a serious playoff push. And I think it's smart to wait because, all of the pieces that'll move around. Like imagine the Oilers who, if they don't make the finals or something, they might, blow it up, and that will be the time to go.
And I think the Kings will still when Connor McDavid makes his way to Long Island. That would be pretty
Maybe
special. That would be
that would
pretty
be
special.
funny. That would be funny.
I would have a
But
good laugh at that one.
yeah. Um, so the Kings being where they are now, I say again, they get third in the Pacific. And especially since, Vegas looks to be on the decline, you never know, especially since it is Vegas. But, Vegas on the decline and having so much money over the cap. Edmonton, who's also over the cap, and, half of the other teams not doing as well as they should have been, like let's say the Sharks, who may finish last. Vancouver may finish last. The Ducks may on be the rise, or they might finish last. You never know. But I think things are in a good spot to like make the playoffs consistently. The fact that they need to get over the hump, I think they wait on.
I think the Kings are gonna the last like the Islanders, they're gonna sneak in the last wild card spot. And then they're going to be first round exits. They are not going to do it again. Kembe will not be scoring that many goals again. And Fiala, without Kaprizov, it's not going to work.
I don't think so, especially seeing that Fiala will either be with Kempe or Iafallo, who will set him up nicely. Seeing that we have so many young depth pieces, I don't think that we will need to be dying for a wild card. We'll be fine on our own. I say we make the playoffs with our roster being so collectively good. And we go in as like the 3 seed in the Pacific and proceed to either take it to 7 in round 1 or lose in round 2. I think that would be a major success in the Kings book.
Who do you see as the biggest competition for the Kings going into next season?
Well, league-wise or in the Pacific?
League-wise.
Well, there's a lot of teams that could really be an issue for the Kings. I'm not going to say Toronto because they always lose in the first round.
I feel like every year we're always like, oh, Toronto could be this big issue for every team in the league. And then it's always the first round exits.
Yeah, we seem to beat Canada. The Kings seem to beat Canada a lot. We took the loss in 93 really hard, so we must make all of Canada suffer.
We're done. We after 93, we don't lose.
Yeah. But, I see in the Pacific, Edmonton being an issue. I think because of injuries, Vegas couldn't reach their full potential last season, so maybe there'll be an issue. Maybe Calgary with the new core, even though they lost Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. They brought in Jonathan Huberdeau, signed up for a big extension. They have good depth and a great goalie in Jacob Markstrom. So you never know. I don't see the Canucks or the Sharks going far. Seattle, again, with them being an expansions team, and seeing what the Knights did, you never know. But I think they'll continue to build up that new team and then continue to gradually get good before they get over the hump and try to make a playoff push. But the Ducks maybe do something. We'll see what they do for the rest of the offseason, whether they sign or not. So
I think I could see the Canucks getting past the Kings. The Canucks have that elite core. We'll talk about that in a further episode.
Yes, but apparently they might be getting rid of that core. That is what I've heard.
Pedersen to the Island.
Everybody's to the Islanders.
I say that every year. Guess how many things Lou Lamoriello has done since I said it? 0.
But
I've been waiting so long. So, are the Kings making the cup this year?
I don't think we're taking the cup, but I know we will probably make the playoffs. seeing our schedule this year, it's, you know, pretty easy at the start, kind of ramps up in the middle, and then eases back down right at the end again. So, it's going to go like, it's going to be like that. So, if we can win against those easy teams, get good wins against good teams like Florida and Edmonton in that middle section, I think we'll be in the place that we want to be at.
If the Kings miss out in the playoffs fully, which I do not see happening, will you trade like guys like Alafalo at the deadline? Who do you see
No,
trading at the deadline if they miss?
I think most people were shocked that we even made the playoffs last year.
I was
But
shocked. I didn't see that coming out of the Kings. I thought, okay, it's another rebuilding year where the Kings are gonna suck, and they made the playoffs shockingly. But we all thought Vegas was gonna be good again. We all thought the Canucks, after big years, were gonna be good again. It didn't happen.
You never know. Hockey, this is why we love hockey. It's so unpredictable. You never know what's happening. One team could be good one year and can suck the next.
You really never know in hockey. It's everything's up and down. It always goes, ooh, it always goes up and down. You never know. Like the Islanders, 2 conference finals runs in a row. And then, boom, you don't make the playoffs at all. When you have cup expectations, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's especially hard if, like, I would say the Kings are still kind of in a rebuild. They're in the middle of, like, we're going from rebuild to win now mentality. So it's going to be like win, but if we're losing, then, try to get as many players in to see how they're doing so we can build up the future generation of Kings.
And Kings fans, because we know there's not a lot of Kings fans. There's more Ducks fans in Los Angeles from what I've seen.
From what you've seen, but around in the valley for some reason, the hot valley where it's 100 degrees a day here. There's a ton of Kings fans out here. You just got to look in the right places.
I'm in LA right now. I'm not in New York. So I see a lot more Ducks fans and Sharks fans than I've seen Kings fans here.
If you get closer to downtown, and especially if you go like a little east, there's a ton of Kings fans, and like teams and like people in the Midwest choose the Kings due to like name recognitionality because LA, big city, let's root for them. So a lot of Kings fans out here. I think you only see Ducks fans and Sharks fans because there's only so few of them that they're kind of hard to see. They're kind of hard to miss too.
Yeah, you see that Sharks blue and you're like, oh, it's a Sharks fan. You're like, what? I never see Sharks fans. It's crazy.
Exactly. There's a ton of Kings fans, one of the biggest fan bases in the NHL. Staples, or I guess Crypto.com Arena.
It's always going to be Staples.
It's always Staples. It'll be packed this year, important. So as we come closer to the end of this episode, we'll do a run through. Islanders, what do you think they need to do, and how well do you think they are going to do, realistically?
God, I can't be biased here. I think, like I said, 4th in the Metro, 96 to 98 points, slip into that last wild card spot if we get Nazem Kadri. If we don't, 5th and 6th seed, 88 points, missing that playoff spot.
I think that's fair, especially seeing that the Islanders can be goal scorers. I think the main issue was, starting on the road for that season and being injured. I also see realistically like 97, 98 points for the Islanders, probably making that playoff, maybe even that first wild card spot if they're doing as good as they are. And kind of the East is decided in like February this year. So will it be decided in February again, or will it come down to like the last day like the West? You never know.
What do you
But
think the Kings are gonna do?
I think we'll get like 103 points, 105 points. We'll be the 3 seed in the Pacific. We'll probably make, I would say, again, go 7 against a really good team. Let's say like the Oilers or Flames or maybe Knights and
Canucks.
Canucks. And then either go 7 or make second round, either lose there by miracle, make third round cup finals. You never know. But I would be really happy just making the playoffs, especially seeing that rebuild is going really well.
I can see the Kings slipping into that last wild card spot. Like I said, 99, 100 points. The West is so tough.
That West is tough, but
the Canucks,
I think
you gotta watch out for them Canucks.
gotta watch out for those
Canucks
in Vancouver over there.
I'm only big on the Canucks. I love the Canucks.
Yeah, but realistically, again, happy if we're like either this close to the playoffs or if we make the playoffs, do well in that. We'll see how the season goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Well,
it has been a fun one.
It has been a fun one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. New videos coming out pretty shortly. Get ready. This is going to be a long time thing. And we're happy if you're watching this first one. Thank you for coming to the ride. We'll see how this goes.
It'll be a fun season and more.
It'll be a fun season. It'll be a fun podcast. We promise you. Comment. We'll do whatever we want. If you
comedy, we're gonna have some fun times on here. Put your suggestions in the comments.
Yes. If you want to see tier lists, we can do tier lists. If you want to see stuff like power rankings, we can do that. We can do how the season is going. Like we could go from week to week, seeing how each team is going. You never know.
You never really know in the NHL, and that's how we roll.
All right. So I feel like our next episode, let's make a promise to the fans. Who you want to see? Who do you want to see, Noah? Who do you want to do the next episode on?
Columbus.
All
Comment down below what team you want to see in next episode.
Yeah, Columbus.
We'll do 2 teams an episode. So comment down below.
2 teams an episode. They'll do an East and West. So how about we do Dallas?
Dallas and Columbus.
We'll do both star teams. All right, Dallas, Columbus, next episode. Again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell us how we're doing. Should we change? And we'll see you later.
See you next time. Peace.